this whole idea of pacing and adapting your lifestyle is really important, but it's actually so difficult. Hello everybody, Melissa from Melissa vs. Fibromyalgia here. I am coming to you fresh off a chest infection, so you can hear it in my voice and I'm a bit breathless, but I have something I've been really thinking about, so I'm trying to make a video despite obviously needing to sit down quietly for a while afterwards. So I've been thinking about how you discuss boundaries and how you educate other people on your needs and your condition and how they should be, treating you, because this whole idea of pacing and adapting your lifestyle is really important, but it's actually so difficult, especially for someone like me who has, I've been chronically ill for a long time, and I've experienced a lot of changes along the way. So in the last 10 years, I have dramatically improved from everything I've researched and looked up and shared on this channel and on my blog. But in the last year, since my periods have gotten really bad, suspected endometriosis, everything else has kind of gone a little bit downhill too. It was kind of to the point where I had like one bad week and then 3 good weeks a month. Then it was kind of half and half. But the last few months, there's not really been a lot of good time in between. So last Monday, I got my period. Wednesday, I got laryngitis. Sunday morning, I was in A&E because I couldn't breathe and I had severe unrelenting upper back pain. Ended up on antibiotics for a suspected chest infection. This whole week I have been breathless, exhausted, like completely unlike myself. So I get the kids ready for school the last few days, get them all off, get them to kindy, get them to where they're going, and come home and fall straight back into bed. That's been my week. And that is very unusual for me. And it was actually really enlightening because everyone's like, yeah, a chest infection is something that, you need to nurture, you need to rest. And as someone with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome who has been told for the vast majority of the last 15 years of my life that you've just got to push through and get on with it, I no longer know what is normal, when I should be resting. I get frustrated because obviously most of last week I was stuck with my period, so I could hardly do anything. So then to go straight into being sick is incredibly frustrating because I am a person who has a deep drive. I want to get things done. I've got a mile-long to-do list for my personal life, for my job, for my blog. I've got 4 small children, and so it's really hard. And that's what's left me thinking about how on earth we communicate these changing boundaries and how we communicate to the people around us and how we get them to understand, because I'm repeatedly coming up against the fact that my husband and people around us just don't get it. And sometimes people can be a bit dismissive and say it'll be fine, or I'm overreacting or whatever, because they only see the best. They don't see the 100 things I have to do to manage. They don't see the box that I'm living in to keep it this well managed. And at the moment, it's not even that well managed. And I've realized it's got to come internally first. So I've got to set the culture. So I've got to set the culture for me as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, as a person with chronic illness. I've got to be secure in myself. I need to know my boundaries and what is kind of normal and expected and okay and whatever else before I can communicate that to anyone else. But that's a very hard thing to do when I have internalized biases, I've internalized ableism, I've internalized the messages I've been given for many years. Even now, like, things are not taken seriously. So I have severe dizzy spells. I have very low blood pressure, but it's the low of normal. And I'll get dizzy spells so bad that I have to just go on the floor to stop from passing out. And it's not just, oh, you feel dizzy for a while and then you sit down and you're okay. It's like that, half your energy is gone. So it's like you feel dizzy, you can't stand upright, maybe your energy is here, and then it's like that. And you feel physically sick. It's really sickening. It's not a nice feeling. And that's just one teeny tiny symptom that I'm experiencing. But because it changes, it's not all the time. It's very hard to explain. It's very hard for anyone to get it taken seriously. I've been told, oh, you just get up more slowly, or you just, rest more, or you just have more salt. But it is actually a debilitating thing to add to what I already have. But the example is I have these internalized biases. I don't know what's normal anymore. I don't know what a normal cortisol level is, because when you live in so much pain and so much fatigue, when you spend your entire 20s pushing through like everyone tells you to do, your stress levels are high. Your cortisol is high. So I don't even know what a normal cortisol level is like. I don't know what normal is. But I am starting to really get the sense that this is not normal. That even if I didn't have any chronic illnesses, any health issues, what I'm doing is a lot. Having 4 small children, working, being an overachiever, having a blog, wanting to do all these things, it's too much. Like normal, women without people, without any health and wellness conditions, struggle to do all the things. It's like the thing of our generation that we talk about, right? Everyone is tired. Everyone is overdoing it. The culture is to keep going. And so I don't know how to bring it back. I know that I'm overdoing it. I know that I need help. I know that I'm not pacing well right now. I'm not living congruently with my energy levels, and my body is forcing the stop. So years ago, my pain was the main thing. And I would push and push and push, and the thing that would stop me would be a migraine. Boom, you cannot function. Now it seems to be more the fatigue, and the thing that is the boom stop is just profound fatigue and the dizzy spells and the sicknesses. So prior to my wellness journey, I would get every single thing. I was sick all the time. But I never really got infections or anything. I was just sick all the time. Then for the last kind of 8 or 9 years, I wasn't really sick that often. The kids would get sick, and sometimes I'd get what they'd get, but I'd get it lighter. It wasn't really a big deal. But then in the last year, I pretty much get everything, and then I get it worse. So I got strep throat at Christmas. So our family had the big virus for a second time at Christmas. Then after that, I ended up with strep throat. Now, 1 month later, I had laryngitis, and then ended up with some kind of chest infection. And it takes me right down. And those times, especially when I'm sick, so to do with my immune system, I think, is when the orthostatic intolerance and the low blood pressure and the dizziness takes over. All of that to say, I'm dealing with all of that and trying to figure out what my boundaries are, trying to figure out how to live this life, how to bring things back so that I'm not on the brink of, causing myself worse things. There is the fear in your mind that you could make the CFS worse, that you could make your baseline permanently or for a more long-term period of time worse. But it is a very real thing you have to consider. And when you look at the last year, you can see. And so I have to be realistic, and I have to be careful, and I have to put myself into the right position. But that is a massive undertaking on its own. And to get secure in that is very difficult, because we've got changing parameters, internal struggles, and the fact that I just want to live my life. But then on top of that, I've got to then somehow educate these people around me on these very difficult things that a lot of doctors don't even understand. So I've never even met a doctor who understands CFS or fibromyalgia. Never. And I could pay a specialist now to go and see them, but I'm literally hemorrhaging money trying to figure out this endometriosis. I'm spending money every month or more than that going to the doctor trying to get help with the period pain. I'm looking at having to spend more money to go and see a different specialist who might let us get an operation out of pocket, because I know that if I could get onto this operation before things get worse, I can really help things. But of course, that doesn't address the CFS. So hemorrhaging money, trying to get it sorted. So all of this going on, I can't even expend any energy to explain anything to the people in my life. And because no one, even the doctors, get it, it is very hard to explain to them. And even like people who live with me and see me on a daily basis, it's really hard to explain, and without me having internal boundaries and being really clear and just saying, this is my boundary and I have to look after myself, I'm never going to be able to communicate that, but it's a very hard thing to do. So I don't really know yet. I don't have, as I feel like I keep saying in my videos lately, I don't have any tidy, here's what you can learn from my story, or here's what you can go and research, because I'm in it myself. And I don't think there is one right answer, but I do think if you can get to a point where you realize that you have to get strong in yourself and figure out yourself first, and then figure out how to mercilessly protect that. And that's going to be contrary to what other people want. Obviously, other people, like if people are tied to you and they want to live their life, but you're kind of stopping them a little bit, or you're doing something that they don't want, it's going to be hard, and there's going to be some kind of back and forth, but you've got to get real firm on what you need and what you deserve. And we've got to get rid of those biases. We've got to stop coming up across people who tell us to push through. If someone who doesn't understand our conditions tries to tell us that, just ignore them. Talk to people who really get it and really understand it, because sometimes there are times when we want to kind of get on with it, where we need to push through and get onto the thing, but that's a very personal decision, and that is really dependent on the situation and whatever it is we're talking about, right? We're not talking about graded exercise therapy or trying to push us through to certain amounts of exercise, or trying to just get on with life and pretend that we're not sick, because it makes things worse. And we deserve a good quality of life. Like, we really do. We deserve a better experience of life. And by not pushing through, we can get it. I can feel so much better when I'm not pushing through. And so now that I've experienced that, it's a little easier to fight for it, but it's still difficult. So I'd encourage you to kind of think through what helps. Do what you can. Get help if you can. Try and find anyone, whether it's a lay person or a doctor or a specialist or a Facebook group, anything that will help you find your boundaries, find what helps you, and then stick to it as best you can. Let me know if any of that resonates. I'm sharing the journey a little bit more frequently on Instagram if you want to come over, Melissa N. Reynolds, and let me know in the comments. Did this resonate? Where are you on this journey? And I'll catch you again soon.